Take a look at this pic. On the left, you've got a set of words. They're not linked to each other in any way. On the right, you've got a set of weirdly shaped geometrical objects. Your task is to match each word to the corresponding objects. Alrighty, let's see the answers. Voila! Let me break it down for you. It's necessary to look for external similarities between words and pictures. This is called word recognition. We recognize words as a whole, not by individual letters. Easier to spot spelling errors. That's why we can read abbreviations. We recognize familiar words even if letters are missing. Next one. You gotta use your math skills here. So, in front of you lies a whole treasure. 10 bags, each of which contains 1,000 coins. 9 sacks contain real gold coins, and 1 contains extremely fake ones. A real gold coin weighs 5 grams, while a fake one weighs 4 grams. How to determine in one weighing on the scales which of the bags contains fake coins? The scales are accurate, but there is only one approach to them. Here's the right approach. We take 1 coin from the first bag, 2 from the second, 3 from the third, and so on, up to 10 coins. Weigh these 55 coins. Gold coins could weigh 275 grams. If 1 gram is missing, then fake coins are in the first bag. If 2 grams are missing, then fake coins are in the second bag, and so on. It's curious that this task is easily scalable. The number of bags is not important. At least 3, at least 1,000, everything is solved by 1 weighing. This riddle got pretty viral on TikTok, but in case you missed it, you can try to solve it right now. He claims that according to the FBI, if you solve this riddle, you're smart enough to become a special agent. So, a man and a woman go out to dinner on their first date. The evening is very hot, and they bring water with ice. The woman is terribly thirsty, and she drinks 3 glasses in 1 gulp. A man drinks 1 glass in small sips throughout the evening. Later, he writes to her that he suddenly became ill. Weakness, dizziness, breathing problems. At midnight, he passes away. The police call the woman in for questioning and announce that there was poison in her glass and in the man's glass. It was poison, so why did the man get poisoned and the woman not? I'm sure you already guessed the poison was in the ice. The woman drank so fast that the ice cubes had no time to melt, so the poison had no effect on her. The man drank slowly and the ice melted, so he swallowed poisonous water. I guess pretty much any brightsider can become a special agent. Now, look at this picture. Keep in mind that it's not that simple and only 1% of people can figure out what's wrong with this image. Hey, look closer. The woman in the red dress on the right doesn't have an umbrella, but she doesn't get wet. 2 coins are worth 30 cents. One of them is not 5 cents. What are these coins? This one was easy. 25 cents and 5 cents. 1 coin is not 5 cents, but the second is 5 cents. Look at this picture closely, because the riddle is all about your attention. Now tell me, what time is in the picture? To make it a little bit easier, I'm going to give you a couple of options. A. It's 5 a.m. B. It's 11 a.m. C. It's 7 a.m. Take a look at the long shadows and the snow lying on the cars and the burning lanterns. Well, I guess it's 7 o'clock in the morning in the picture. Look at the picture. Do you spot anything weird here? The shipping deck seems to be way too slim. Seems like it was built after the ship had arrived at the port. Allison is quite a picky eater. She likes grapes, but she can't stand peaches. She's into squash, but she never eats carrots. So now you have to figure out what Allison prefers, pumpkins or apples. This girl may be finicky, but she does have some logic. She only eats things that grow on vines, so she's gonna prefer pumpkins over apples. There's a clerk at the butcher shop. He's 6 feet tall and he wears size 13 sneakers. What does he weigh? Of course, it's meat. There's a word in the English language in which the first 2 letters signify a male, the first 3 letters signify a female, the first 4 letters signify a great man, and the whole word means a great woman. Can you guess this word? It's the word heroine. A hen and a half lays an egg and a half in a day and a half. How many eggs does one hen lay in one day? Yeah, it's pretty hard to think of a hen and a half. As for an egg and a half, I can only imagine it in a cooked form. 1.5 days is the easiest criterion here. So, with all the given information, it must be that one hen would lay 1 egg in the same time period. 1.5 days. But if one hen lays 1 egg in 1.5 days, it means that one hen would lay only 2/3 of an egg in one day. So the answer is 2/3 of an egg. A young man wants to have it, but when he grows up, he no longer wants it. He attacks it with a blade in his hands, but it's always in vain. What is it? It's a beard. Hey, I've got a riddle rhyme for you. I'm rather large and usually majestic. I'm every hue of the rainbow. I can eat you. I may heat you. You only wish you could see me. What am I? It's a dragon. The last but not the least. Get ready. This one's gonna be pretty long. Carl's 2 grandmothers want to see him every weekend, but they live on the opposite sides of town. Not to offend any of the grannies, he tells them that every Sunday he'll head to the subway station nearest to his apartment at a random time of the day and will hop on the next train that arrives. If it happens to be the train traveling north, he'll visit his grandma Erica uptown. And if it happens to be the train traveling south, he'll visit his grandma Liz downtown. Both of his grandmothers are okay with this plan, since they both know the northbound and southbound trains run every 20 minutes. But after a few months of doing this, Grandma Liz complains that she sees him only 1 out of 5 Sundays. Carl claims he chooses a random time each day. How can this be? Keep in mind that the trains always arrive at their scheduled times. Although both trains come exactly every 20 minutes, the timing matters a lot. Let's imagine the northbound train comes on the hour, on the 20, and on the 40. So at 8, 8:20, 8:40, 9, etc. Now let's suppose the southbound train comes on the 4, 24, and 44. So 8:04, 8:24, 8:44, 9:04, etc. This means in any hour, there will be only 12 minutes in which the southbound train will be the next train to arrive. So, if Carl arrives between 8 and 8:04, between 8:20 and 8:24, or between 8:40 and 8:44, he'll get on the southbound train. Otherwise, he'll get on the northbound train. But as Carl always comes at a random time, and the southbound train supposedly arrives after the northbound trains, Carl gets to see his grandma Liz pretty rarely. Who is wanted? The girl on the right. She has the same mole as the girl on the poster. Who is an identity thief? It's the man on the right. His real ID is sticking out of his backpack, which means he must be showing a fake ID. Who is an imposter? The girl on the left. The script she's reading is turned upside down. It means she only pretends to be an actress. Who is the real thief? Both of these men are thieves. While one man is distracting the girl, the other is preparing to steal her phone. The last will of Mr. Wilson, a rich businessman, got stolen. There were 5 people in the house at that moment: Mr. Wilson's wife, their cook, butler, maid, and gardener. They all told the detective what they'd been doing that evening. Mrs. Wilson was sitting by the fireplace embroidering. The cook was making breakfast. The butler was supervising several workers in the living room. The maid was sweeping the floors in the hallway. The gardener was watering the plants in the greenhouse. Right after this conversation, the detective arrested the thief. Who is the culprit? And how'd the detective figure it out? The cook is the thief. He said he'd been preparing breakfast, but the crime happened in the evening. Lily owned a flower store. One day, she got a call from the police. They told her that her shop had been robbed. When she arrived, shards of glass were on the ground near the store, and the pots and plants inside were broken. The police questioned 3 suspects. Jacob, Lily's ex, said, "I was in a hurry and didn't notice that the windows were broken when I was passing by the store. I only realized what had happened when the police called me." Camille, Lily's friend, said, "Lily asked me to help her with something in the store. When I arrived, everything had already been broken. I called the police immediately." Matt, Lily's ex-coworker, said, "I was walking nearby and I saw someone breaking a window and sneaking into the shop. I left my phone at home, so I ran to the police station." Can you guess who's lying? Matt is lying. Shards of glass were laying on the ground, which meant that the criminal had to break the window from the inside. Let's take a little break. Now, you need to think fast. Mary's mom has 4 daughters. One daughter is called April, the second is named May, and the third daughter is June. What's the 4th daughter's name? It's Mary, of course. Who doesn't belong to this list? Napoleon Bonaparte, Queen Elizabeth, William Shakespeare, Sherlock Holmes, Aristotle, Christopher Columbus, Donald Trump. Sherlock Holmes. He's the only fictional character on the list. 8 girls are in the house, and each of them is busy with something. The first one is cooking dinner. The second one is lighting the fireplace. The third girl is playing chess. The fourth one is reading a book. The 5th girl is drawing a picture. The 6th is cleaning up the house. The 7th girl is watering the plants. What is the 8th girl doing? She's playing chess with the 3rd girl. One woman turned 40 in 1850, but in 1860 she was 30 years old. How could this happen? This could only happen if 1860 was earlier than 1850, which means that the woman turned 40 in 1850 BCE and 30 in 1860 BCE. An artist was walking in the park when it suddenly started raining. He had neither a hat nor an umbrella to cover his head. He also couldn't hide under a tree because the downpour was too heavy, and still, not a single hair on his head got wet. How can that happen? The artist was bald. Now let's get back to our detective riddles. Robert won $1 million in the lottery. He decided not to tell anyone about this, including his wife. At home, he put his money in a safe hidden behind a painting. The next day, the money disappeared. The police invited all the suspects for questioning. Emily, Robert's wife, said, "In the morning, I went to my husband's home to clean up there. The safe was open and there was nothing inside." James, Robert's business partner, said, "Poor Robert, he always wanted to win a lottery. I stayed at home all day and yesterday and watched TV." And Mark, Robert's friend, said, "I was at the gym last night, then I went home. I can't imagine why anyone would do this." The police arrested the thief. Can you guess who it was? Robert's business partner did this. Robert didn't tell anyone that he'd won the lottery. His wife noticed an empty safe when she entered the office, but she didn't know what was inside. Marina was participating in a figure skating championship. She was a very strong competitor, and many people believed she could win. When the time for a warm-up ran out, all the participants started preparing for the performance. Marina was the first. She was amazing, but suddenly she tripped, fell down, and broke her leg, which made her unable to continue. The investigation revealed that someone had ruined her skates. The police interviewed 3 suspects. Anna said, "I didn't do anything, but I saw Jacqueline and Kate walking into the locker room before Marina's performance. They're the ones who ruined her skates." Jacqueline said, "Yes, I indeed went into the locker room to take my things, but I didn't see Kate there." And Kate said, "Yeah, that's because I've been practicing in the gym until it was my turn. Besides, Anna is lying. I saw her in the locker room." Can you guess who's lying? Kate. She couldn't train in the gym because the time for the warm-up had been over by the time the competition started. Here's what happened. Kate went into the locker room and ruined Marina's skates. Jacqueline came into the locker room after her, and that's what Anna saw.
Brendan and Rachel are 2 archaeologists working on a digging site in the desert. One day, they came across a cursed artifact. Once they touched it, they magically got teleported into a room with no doors and no windows. How can they escape? Now, there are 3 signs that suggest they can escape through that wall. The first one is, if you take a closer look at it, you'll notice that the bricks at the center are slightly dislocated. The second one is, there's a wind coming from the direction of the dislocated bricks. You can tell it by looking at Brendan and Rachel shifting clothes. And the third one is, there's also a faint light coming from between the dislocated bricks. So, that can only mean there is actually nothing holding them together. They can just push the bricks and create a hole in the wall. Unfortunately, Brendan and Rachel found themselves inside another room. Unlike the previous, this one was very large, and there were 10 identical-looking ancient statues in it. But take a look at the scene. Do you notice something strange? This statue's eyes are following Brendan and Rachel. It's alive. Once Brendan and Rachel realized the moving statue, it started speaking. "How dare you enter the chamber where I am resting with my brave warriors? I will turn a blind eye to your disrespect and will let you go only if you answer my question correctly. If you can't, I will turn both of you to stone. I am light as a feather, yet the strongest man can't hold me for much more than a minute. What am I?" The correct answer is breath. Anna wanted to buy a van to travel the country. She went to the van fair to pick one. There were 3 vans she could afford. Take a look at each of them. Which one should she buy? Did the wooden flooring of the first van catch your attention? It's all scratched and blistered, so this one is a pass. Now let's check the second one. It seems like something is missing. It has no stove. How is she going to be able to cook? It's better she does not waste her money on this one either, so she should buy the third one. David went to the grocery store to buy some fresh fruits and vegetables. At the checkout, he realized that he had forgotten his wallet back home. It was closing time at the store, so there was no time to go home, grab his wallet, and come back to pay. The store manager said, "I'll let you get all the food for free if you can answer my riddle correctly. What has a heart that doesn't beat?" The answer is an artichoke. Jamie was riding his bike when he came across a junction. The first road was leading to a forest where it was raining acid all the time. The second road was leading to a pitch-black tunnel where nobody could see where they were going. And the third road was leading to a highway where it was so hot that even the concrete road was melting. Which one should he choose? Jamie should pick the second road because his bicycle has a headlight attachment here, so he can actually see where he's going. Florence was a contestant at the Who Wants to Be a Billionaire game show. She only had one question left to win $1 billion, and it was this. What starts with an E, ends with an E, but only contains one letter? But she couldn't figure out the answer, so she used her phone-a-friend lifeline and called you. Can you help her out? The answer is an envelope. The Rodriguez family went on vacation to a remote cabin in the woods. They brought a large supply of food with them, including several cans of soup. However, when it was time to open a can and start preparing the dinner, they realized they didn't have a can opener. Yet still, Mr. Rodriguez was able to open it. How did he do it? He used this rock on the counter to smash the top of the can. Yes, the rock was a can opener. Mrs. Rosie was knitting a sweater in front of the fireplace on one snowy winter night. Suddenly, somebody threw a snowball at her window, which caused the glass to shatter to pieces. Mrs. Rosie immediately could tell this was one of those 3 mischievous kids who lived in the neighborhood. They were brothers with the names of Robert McDuffie, Henry McDuffie, and Mark McDuffie. The next day, a paper note was left on Mrs. Rosie's doorstep. It had this cryptic message written on it. ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. After reading it, Mrs. Rosie could immediately tell which McDuffie brother threw the snowball. Can you? The brother responsible for the broken window was Mark McDuffie. The symbol, ? is called a, question mark. Now the meaning of the message is clear as day, right? ? McDuffie. He threw the snowball. Now the question is, who threw Mark McDuffie under the bus? Ratted him out? Sandra was going to a monster-themed costume party. When she arrived at the venue, she greeted 3 people, but 2 of them were actually real monsters, and only one of them was a human. Can you tell who? The first guy is a real human because he is wearing a mask. You can see the ribbon of it tied behind his head. Sophia was an extra who acted in the season's most anticipated movie. She was invited to the premiere among the other cast members and crew. She wanted to look her best for the event and decided to hire a professional makeup artist to do her makeup. She found 3 makeup artists on social media to choose from. Take a look at their profiles. Which one should Sophia choose? Well, the makeup the first makeup artist is wearing is not so flattering. How is she going to do Sophia's makeup if her own looks that unprofessional? And did you see that the social media bio of the second makeup artist says only bridal makeup? So, the best option is the third makeup artist. Princess Madeline was going to have a crowning ceremony, and all kinds of important people were invited. However, on the day of the ceremony, her newly crafted royal crown got stolen from the vault. The head royal guard examined the security footage and boiled down the suspects to 3. When he questioned them, the first suspect said she had just arrived at the palace at the time the crown was stolen, so she didn't do it. The second suspect said she had spilled a drink on her dress and went back home to change it, so she didn't do it. And the third suspect said even if she was a thief, she would not be interested in stealing a crown made of emeralds. Who do you think did it? Now remember, the crown is newly crafted, so nobody has seen it yet, and there is no way anyone could know what gemstones it is made of. So it's the third lady who stole it. Simon was going to propose to his longtime girlfriend. He wanted the ring to be special, so he engraved his and his girlfriend's initials along with a heart shape inside the ring. However, when his girlfriend saw it, she immediately broke up with him. Can you tell why? Do you see the necklace Simon's girlfriend is wearing? It says Beatrice on the pendant, so that must be her name. But the engraving inside the ring says S loves D. This probably means Simon is cheating on her with another girl whose name starts with D, and he mixed the names up. Simon says, find somebody else. Anthony was going to start working at his dream company. To celebrate the good news, his dad wanted to get him a new luxury watch as a good luck gift. He went to the store to pick one. The salesman showed him 3 different watches. Which one should he buy? Do you see the tiny scratches the second watch has? That must be a returned product, so it's a pass. And the third watch here shows the time wrong. The store clock on the wall says it's 5 p.m., but the watch says it's 4:40 p.m., so it is running behind. Better not risk spending all that money on a malfunctioning watch. So he should buy the first one. Nancy was hiking in the woods. She lost track of time and couldn't find her way back to her car in the darkness. In the distance, she saw a small cottage with lights coming from the windows. She headed there to ask for help. When she knocked on the door, a wizard greeted her and said he would help her only if she could guess what animal his familiar was. Can you help Nancy figure it out? Take a look at the magic staff the wizard is holding. The head of it is raven-shaped, so his familiar must be a raven. Amir's favorite band was in town to give a concert. After it ended, Amir rushed backstage to catch the band members before they left and asked for an autograph. But the security guard stopped him. After Amir begged him and told him this was his biggest dream, the security guard said, "I will let you meet the members if only you answer my riddle correctly. What comes once in a minute, twice in a moment, but never in 1,000 years?" Come on, the security guy. Anyway, do you know the answer? The correct answer is the letter M. Penny's new favorite hobby was bird watching. She was trying to observe all the birds in her region and take notes about them. One day, She saw a rare species of bird and wanted to learn everything she could about it. Can you help her figure out which of these trees in the forest is this bird's home? Did you see the leaf that was stuck among the wing feathers of the bird? Only this tree has the same kind of leaves, so it must be where the bird's nest is located. Sally had a history exam the next day, but she had not been attending any of the classes, so she didn't have any notes to help her study. Nellie, on the other hand, was a very hard-working student who had never missed a single class. When Sally asked Nellie if she could borrow her class notes, Nellie said, "I will only allow that if you answer my riddle correctly. What has 4 letters, sometimes 9 letters, but never has 5 letters? Can you answer it?" Well, the answers are hidden in the question this time. This riddle isn't describing something, it's actually telling you how many letters each word has. The word what contains 4 letters, the word sometimes contains 9 letters, and the word never contains 5 letters. Since Sally was a lazy student who didn't study, she couldn't answer the riddle and flunked the exam. She was grounded to her home after school for a month. And Nellie ended up with Sally's boyfriend Pete, who everyone said could have done better than old Sally. And now you know the rest of the story.
It was raining heavily in the evening. Lauren told her young daughters to go to bed. Sometime later, she went to check on them. As soon as she opened the door to their room, she realized that one of them had sneaked out and returned without her permission. Look at the room and try to figure out which girl it was. It was the girl on the left. Look, both pairs of sneakers are in their place, but the ones on the left are covered with dirt. Alexa has been running at the stadium every day for several months, preparing for upcoming athletic competitions. And they start today. Alexa is warming up when she notices a skinny guy among other runners. His legs look thin and seem to be weak. Alexa feels skeptical about his running abilities. Anyway, they get into the starting position. 3, 2, 1, go! Alexa is running as fast as she can. Suddenly, she notices that the guy she paid attention to earlier is running much faster than her, and he doesn't even look tired. Eventually, he wins. But how did he do it? He's not a real athlete. In fact, he isn't even a human. He doesn't sweat, he doesn't blink, and he has 2 left hands. Yikes. A guy bought a fishing pole that was 6 feet 3 inches long. When he wanted to get on the bus with this fishing pole, the driver stopped him. The man told the guy that he couldn't take anything longer than 6 feet onto the bus. The guy went back into town and bought one more thing, and the driver allowed him on the bus. What did the guy buy, and what did he do with it? The guy bought a 6-foot long box. He put the fishing pole in it diagonally, and the entire package turned out to be only 6 feet long. Julia was angry with her boyfriend. She sent a message to her best friend who lived abroad. In this message, the girl complained about the mistakes the guy had made. But her friend sent her a very strange reply. Give, get, give, get, give, get, give, get. What did Julia's friend mean? She wanted to say that Julia should forgive and forget. Gemma was a mermaid living in the Pacific Ocean. One day she was swimming near the surface when she spotted 2 handsome guys. Both of them seemed to be in trouble. Look at them attentively and try to figure out who Gemma should save first. This wooden boat is indeed filled with water. But it's still okay, and the guy inside can scoop this water out. But this guy's inflatable boat is damaged. He will soon find himself in the water, and this shark will be all too happy to snack on him. He needs Gemma's help urgently. One hotel guest discovered her diamond necklace and earrings were missing after a party in the lobby. Someone must have stolen her jewelry. The hotel management invited a detective. After questioning all guests and staff members, the detective had 3 suspects: Walter, another hotel guest, Alice, a maid, and Alan, a porter. The detective decided to check their rooms. What he saw was enough for him to understand who the thief was. Can you figure it out too? It's Alice. There's an already packed suitcase in her room. She's about to run away with the stolen jewelry. Galaxy Detective Varamcha was on a case. A spaceship was lost. Her partner, Galaxy Junior Detective Brightbulb, gave her a piece of paper. It was the location of the spaceship. This is what the slip had scribbled on it: juice, umbrella, potato, ice, tomato, elephant, rice. Where do you think the spaceship is? Right, it's on Jupiter. You just need to pay attention to the first letters of these words. Look at these girls. It seems to be a tough competition. But guess what? One of these girls is cheating. Can you figure out who it is? It's the girl on the left. Strangely, she doesn't look tired. Ah, do you see that USB port in her neck? She's a robot. Someone stole the money Adam kept in his safe. After watching the security footage, the police figured out that it had happened at midnight. They questioned 3 suspects. Julia said she'd gone to bed at 10 p.m. and fallen asleep right away. Parker told the detective he'd been watching TV from 11:45 p.m. to 1 a.m. And Aiden said he'd been with his friends, playing computer games all night. The police arrested the thief. Who was it? It was Parker. He was suspiciously specific about the time. Elijah went on a cruise. On the 3rd day, he noticed that one of the staff members was an imposter. Look at them attentively and try to guess who it is. This waitress is actually hiding a police badge under her floral garland. She must be undercover. Samantha needed to check something online, but her phone's battery was flat. She grabbed her brother's device, but it was password protected. Suddenly, a hint appeared on the screen. While I am in the air, I am not in oxygen. I am also in water, but not in hydrogen. I am necessary for all animals, but you won't find me in a zoo. Look in all brains, and you'll find me there too. Can you figure out the password? It's the letter A. Dora went to study for her exam in a coffee shop. She ordered some tea with milk, opened her laptop, and started working. At one point, she went to the bathroom. When she returned, her laptop wouldn't switch on and her cup was empty. Someone had spilled the tea on her computer, causing it to crash. Dora called the manager and told him what had happened. They came up with 3 suspects. The barista said he had been extremely busy and hadn't seen anything. The supervisor said he was sorry the milk tea had spilled on the computer. He also promised to check if the insurance would cover the cost. The second barista was also sorry about her milk tea damaging the computer. He offered Dora to make her another cup while they were waiting for the police to arrive. The manager immediately understood who had ruined Dora's laptop. Have you figured it out? It was the supervisor. He couldn't have known the tea had milk in it. As for the second barista, he knew about the milk because he was the one to prepare Dora's order. Caroline went for a walk in the park. Deep in her thoughts, the girl wasn't really looking where she was going. That's why she didn't notice a deep pit in the ground and fell into it. When she came round, she found herself in a strange room. There were no windows, No door? The girl saw a table with 3 apples on it. And was it a note? To get out of this trap, you've got to eat an apple, but only one of them isn't poisoned. Pick carefully. Caroline was terrified. But after examining the apples, she bravely bit into one of them. And nothing bad happened. Which apple did she choose? The girl chose the apple with a worm peeking out of it. If it could eat the fruit, a human probably could too. Detective Adam Bonders worked undercover at a luxurious resort. The police suspected that the hotel owners were involved in some shady deals. Adam's main task was to sneak into the manager's office and check the documents. But the door was locked, and there was a combination lock. Adam had to figure out the password. The detective knew he needed to solve a math riddle, and the answer would be the code. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 1 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals. As soon as he punched in the code, the door opened. What was the correct number? It's 30. There are no mathematical symbols at the end of the first and second lines. It means the whole thing looks like this. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 11 plus 1 times 0 plus 1 equals 30.
Before Detective Zelda left for the cafe, she decided to check the security camera footage recorded at night. The mayor took her to the surveillance room. There were 3 different monitors, each showing the room from different angles. Detective Zelda realized only one of them was still recording live. The other 2 were showing fake images. Which recording is real and why? Do you remember what the room looked like when Detective Zelda was inspecting it? The clock certainly wasn't on this wall. It was on the opposite one, so the footage on the first monitor is fake. The footage on the second monitor isn't real also. If you look closer, you'll see a moth flying around the room, but it repeats the same movement over and over again. That's badly edited fake footage, so it makes the footage from the third monitor the real one.
Oh yes!
Detective Zelda rewound the footage and found the moment when the riddling man had broken into the room. He was covering his face, so it was impossible to tell what he looked like. Still, Detective Zelda managed to notice something that could help her find the criminal. Can you tell what it is? If you look at the lower left corner, you'll see someone walk into the room and leave it quickly while the riddling man is stealing the crowns. Could that mean that the riddling man has a partner? To find that out, Detective Zelda questioned all the security guards who had been working the night shift. The first guard, George, said that he'd been keeping watch in front of the door. The only time he left his place was when he took a short bathroom break. The second guard, Joe, said he'd been standing in front of the door to the mayor's office all night, and the only person who took a break was George. The third guard, Brian, said he'd been right there by the door as well. Detective Zelda knew only one of them was telling the truth, and the other 2 were lying. Who is the liar? Do you remember what the shoes of the man who entered the room looked like? White sneakers, and that's what Brian is wearing. So he's lying. And since Joe didn't mention that Brian had left his place, he's a liar too. George is the only one who's telling the truth.
Ciao.
Brian and Joe immediately started begging Zelda. "We can't end up in jail. We promised we didn't steal anything. You have to believe us," Detective Zelda asked. "Then why did you lie?" They said that they had heard some noise coming from the room while George was away. They decided that Brian would check the room and Joe would keep watch. When Brian saw someone in the room, he got scared and ran out of there. He told Joe that he would rather lose his job than have something bad happen to him. As for Joe, he lied because Brian was his best friend, and he didn't want him to get fired. And since they never saw anyone enter or exit the room, they thought they were imagining things. After all, they were very tired. What do you think Zelda can do to check if the guards are telling the truth? She can check the surveillance footage of the street outside the building to confirm that nobody entered or left. When Zelda couldn't see anyone even walk across the street, she came to the conclusion that Brian and Joe were telling the truth.
Yeah!
The detective decided to check the secret room once again to figure out how the riddling man had gotten inside. Sometime later, she managed to spot another hidden door. Can you see it too? The bookcase is actually a door.
Oh my god!
She examined the door to figure out how to open it. She noticed 3 buttons, but only one could open the door. If Zelda pressed the wrong button, the door would get locked for good, and she would not be able to figure out where it led. Which button should she press? Take a look at the books next to the buttons. One of the titles is meaningless, while the others make sense. That must be an anagram, a word or phrase formed by rearranging the letters of another. When you rearrange the letters in the title, you'll get the second button. Detective Zelda pressed it, and the bookcase door opened. The woman saw a narrow hallway with stairs leading down. She took a step, and the door closed behind her back. She tried to force it open, but it wouldn't move. The only thing she could do was go down the stairs. She ended up in an underground pit. Inside, there was nothing but a shovel and a sign that showed her that she was around the pit. In the hole to the left, there were venomous snakes. The pit on the right was filled with poisonous gas. And on the ground right above her head, there was an angry dog with sharp teeth. What should she do? She should dig upwards. She needs to listen to the sounds the dog makes and wait for the animal to fall asleep. Then she should walk quietly past it. That must be how the riddling man entered and left the room. Detective Zelda didn't want to waste any more time, so she headed to Cafe West. A guy sitting at the table in the corner caught her eye. He looked suspicious. When Detective Zelda started walking towards him, he quickly wrote something on the newspaper he'd been reading. Then he ran away through the back door. Detective Zelda tried to catch him, but failed. She checked the paper and found another note. It said, "You're not the mayor, but I'll give him one last chance. It looks like you work for him, so bring me $20 million in cash. We can meet at the building that has the most stories in 2 hours." What building does the riddling man mean? The library. Of course, Detective Zelda was not going to give him any money. She took an empty bag to trick him into believing she had the cash so that he wouldn't run away. She went to the library. When she entered, she saw the riddling man wearing the same sunglasses and coat. He was waiting for her in the riddle and puzzle books section. Then, suddenly, someone accidentally pushed the woman. She dropped her bag. It fell on the floor and opened. The riddling man saw it was empty and understood that this was just a plan to catch him. He ran away. But he dropped something while escaping. It was a library book, and there was a library card inside. It had 3 different addresses of 3 different people who had borrowed the book before. Zelda immediately realized which was the riddling man's address. How did she figure it out? Remember the note the riddling man wrote to her at the cafe? The first address is written by the same person. Detective Zelda had 2 police officers break into the riddling man's apartment. They found the crowns, but the criminal was gone. For some reason, Detective Zelda felt that she would see the riddling man again. Detective Tina received an emergency call from the local museum. Someone had stolen an exclusive scarab brooch from ancient Egypt. First of all, Tina checked all security cameras. This is what she found. Can you spot the thief just by looking at these two pictures? See this guy? He's holding an open paper cup in the first image, but in the second image, the cup has a lid. The guy hid the stolen brooch in his paper cup. Detective Tina hurried to the crime scene. When the brooch disappeared, the museum security system locked all visitors inside the building. But the guards didn't find the suspected person among the visitors. How did he escape? Have you guessed? Take a look up at the ceiling. See the shoe prints on the statue? The thief climbed this sculpture and escaped through the window on the roof. Tina went to the roof to search for some clues. Can you see any? The thief left the cup on the roof. There's a coffee shop name written on it. Bright Cup. Tina can visit this place and check the security cameras. Tina arrived at the coffee shop, located just nearby the museum. Unfortunately, they didn't have security cameras, so Tina questioned the staff. Kelly, the barista, said, "Sorry, I don't know this guy. I'm just trying to do my job." Mike, the manager, said, "This face looks familiar, but I'm not sure where I saw him." And Phil, the guard, said, "Sorry, never saw him. You can trust me. I have a perfect memory for faces." Tina knew for sure that one of them had lied. Can you spot who exactly? Kelly, look at her iPad. There's an incoming call from her boyfriend. Take a closer look at the contact photo. It's our thief. Therefore, Kelly is an accomplice in the crime. Tina told Kelly, "I'm afraid we should continue this conversation at the police station." But Kelly ran away through the backyard. Tina followed her and ended up in a dark basement. She got lost and found these 3 cages. The first cage is covered with fire. There are huge ice cubes all over the second cage, and the third cage is full of venomous scorpions. Tina has to choose one of them to get to the surface. Can you help her choose the safest option? The cage with the ice cubes. She can get cold, but it's still safer than the other 2 cages. The police caught Kelly and brought her to the station. During interrogation, Kelly told Tina 4 facts. First of all, this guy's name is Alex. Secondly, he's my ex-boyfriend. We don't get along anymore. We went to the same college and met in history class. And finally, I don't know why he'd stolen this stupid brooch. One of the facts is false. Can you guess which one? The 4th one. Look at Kelly's tattoo. It's identical to the stolen brooch. She definitely knows something about the stolen item. Kelly confessed that the thief might be hiding in an abandoned castle site outside the city. Tina went to check it out. But anyone who wants to reach the castle should go through this tangled maze. Can you tell which one of these 4 paths will bring Tina to the castle? The first path leads to the pond with crocodiles. The third one leads nowhere. And the 4th way goes back to the beginning. So Tina should choose the second path. Tina entered the castle and saw a room full of ancient artifacts. She spotted the thief right away. What about you? Can you see him? This mummy is holding a cell phone. Alex ran away to the basement and Tina followed him. Unfortunately, the door behind her slammed shut and she got stuck. Can you help her break the code to escape? A calendar on the door says, "You force heaven to be empty." If you read the sentence again, you're going to hear a 7-digit code. U, 4, 7, 2, B, M, T. In the next room, Tina got stuck in another trap. The creepy voice explained,
If you press the right button, I'm going to let you go. But if you choose the wrong one, you'll stay here forever. You've only got one chance to escape. Good luck.
Which button opens the lock? Have you guessed? She should pick the black button. This picture on the wall is a hint. The rainbow contains all colors except for black. Tina got out of the trap and entered a room full of old furniture. She noticed 3 odd details about this room right away. What about you? There are books in this burning fireplace, but they don't burn. Take a look at this painting on the wall. This lady's winking. And the reflection in this mirror doesn't match the room at all. Tina found Alex near these underground gates leading to an ancient underground city. He explained that the scarab brooch hid a secret key, but there are 4 different locks on the gates. The guys only have one attempt to choose the right one. Which lock should they pick? The 4th lock is the only perfect match for this key. The guys opened the gates and entered the city. Alex had a map, so he ran away to find the treasures and left Tina alone. She looked around and noticed a 3-way road pointing to the north, west, and east. Tina didn't know where to go. Suddenly, she saw a lady. The local citizens always reply truthfully, but they answer only one question if they're talking to a stranger. What should Tina ask to figure out the right direction? She should ask, if the right direction is not the east, is it west? Here's why. There are 3 possible answers. 1. Yes, west is correct. 2. No, east is the right direction. 3. Neither one nor the other. Tina should go north. Or, Tina might just ask the name of this lady and then introduce herself. This way, they won't be strangers anymore, and Tina would be able to ask as many questions as she needed.